8:45 a.m. Um, you know, I have to bring this out and about. There's times where I actually have to appreciate the algorithms through this platform. Most generally, I despise most everything about this platform. Okay? But as I said, there are times to where I do appreciate this platform because of how it brings forth more information that backs up the narratives that I come forth with. And apparently, for at least this morning and the morning hours, that is the theme of today is narratives. And of course, narratives pertaining to weather and the spraying and the skies. And so as I am uploading my previous content, a video comes up on the recommended watch. And I'm going to include a link to this, which apparently is just a preview for a much longer video. But I think there's enough to really spark more interest into the topic of so-called chemtrailing or geoengineering or what have you, and so-called conspiracy theories thereof. And of course, I have been called many times in the past a batshit crazy conspiracy theorist. And that's why I back up my content, my narratives, with just as much available evidences as I can provide. Now, in the past, we've had certain situations to where certain areas globally, desert areas, started to bloom forth all kinds of plant life. We've seen portions of, I believe, the Sahara Desert that had these purple flowers, possibly violets, I can't remember, that just started popping all over the place, right? Now, is it just because of amounts of moisture in those areas? Or is it certain additives that they are adding to their aerosol dispersals that can induce plant life growth, such as chlorophyll? And I brought this up before in the past, that I believe chlorophyll, there goes Jayhawk, yeah, that's Jayhawk up here. Where you at, buddy? There you are. And I just walked into a spider web. But anyways, continuing on. So, in some of my previous content, let me get out of this spider web. And I don't know if this will pick it up or not. Probably not. But anyways, so in some of my earlier content, quite a while back, I brought up the factor of possibilities of chlorophyll being sprayed. But I've also brought up the factor of how I have never seen so much flowers out here. Furthermore, let me show you this. This bush right here has grown exponentially over the last year. Okay? And I've been noticing this with a lot of the plant life around here. And that especially of the flowers, the wildflowers. So what has sparked all this? Once again, I believe it is due to chlorophyll. Now, that is one component that would be very, very difficult to prove. Unlike trace samples on foliage of all these other heavy metals and so on and so forth that other private researchers have come up with through the samples that they have collected and had examined through laboratories and so on and so forth. So we got, you know, so much proofs of the stuff that is being sprayed up here and coming down onto not only all of this, but us as well. And between these chemicals and the frequencies and so on and so forth, well, you might hear another certain little narrative that's going to be brought up and laughed about. Well, this is not a laughable scenario when you also connect in the factor of the snake bites of recent years and sterilization factors, as well as, well, let's just say changes hormonally. Okay? This is some really disturbing shit. Plain and simple. And to figure how long this has been going on and everything that connects to that period of time, which is brought up in this little preview presentation. And what's even more disturbing is the aspects of who is being interviewed and their age and their powers of control at such a young age. Even more disturbing factors of thought that should be pondered. Get ready for the end, people. It's coming. There's going to be choices, and decisions will have to be made in regards to these choices. I will be presenting that much more pertaining to these future choices, but for now, let's focus on the narratives first. And you can begin, well, as you already have, by watching my content. Now click on that link. It is, once again, just a preview, so it's short in duration, but there's enough in there that should grab your attention. And I'm saying that politely because I could phrase it differently. So on that note, once again, we are going to wait for the predictive, forecasted narratives of increasing cloudiness throughout this day. And we are going to see why. Because after all, it's all about those narratives, right? And I back up my narrative content with proofs and evidences, unlike so many other sources and resource material that's out there floating about today. The proof is in the pudding, within observations and not just talk, such as through narratives. think about it, click on that link and join me for more back here on this flip side. Thank you for watching. And well, I'm going to have to pause this for a moment because we just might start seeing that activity. Okay, we do have the sounds of an aircraft that is currently flying overhead, but it is one of those no-see-ums, at least at this current point in time. I definitely hear the rumbling of such, but just like in today's earlier recording, which that one actually kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, and I was just lucky enough to have caught it, especially because it did not have such a long streamer or trail behind it. But at least we right now have the sounds, the audible proofs. And like I said, in due time, we will provide more proofs with sightings of this activity. And just as an ending little notation here, we can already see an increase of so-called cloudiness back here in the horizon. There is a definite divider point between what appears as a line of clouds and so-called blueness. Yeah. I'm not sure how well this is picking it up, but it is there. And remember, when they're speaking of water vapor, oh, it's just water vapor being expelled through exhaust. Remember the direction of which I am facing, which is west. And what is located west of my location? A great big body of water known as Lake Michigan. Or at least that's the name right now. I mean, we've already seen one large body of water have its name changed recently, so I mean, who knows? This body of water to the west of me could eventually be called Lake Wisconsin. All right, so we will continue forth once I can prove that much more through my narratives and through the sightings, observational sightings, up above and overhead. Stay tuned, won't you please? How often can you throw a stick towards a cat and they play with it like they're a dog fetching a stick? And I don't know if you guys might have caught it in my past or previous recording, recent recording, to where I showed Greystoke walking up to the back of the apartment complex. And if you were paying attention, Greystoke actually had Mousy, a little toy mouse that somebody brought out here into the woods, and was carrying it around. A little catnip mouse toy. These yeah, these newer cats. This is one very rebellious cat here. Takes right after me. I'm telling you what, she is so cool. So's her little boyfriend back here, Tiny. All right, here we go. We have got to catch one of these guys. I might have to go back up to the crow's nest in order to actually get a good visual, but yep. Where you at? Oh, I can hear them. The swallows. So many swallows this year. Which, yeah, that's kind of been a narrative in itself. But looking back here, look, all this is moving in. Yeah, we're going to have to go up to the crow's nest and see what we can see. Because down here below, it's just, I think it's all about angles. This is looking rather crazy back here. Alright, we're going up to the crow's nest. We're going to continue on. Leave these cats playing out here in the wet grass. Oh yeah. Got either a grackle or a starling up here. Making a little bit of noise. Where you at? There it is. Yeah. Let's go back up to the bird's nest, or a crow's nest. Bird's nest, whatever. The bird's nest balcony, crow's nest. Yeah, let's resume from there. Alrighty, and the recording has resumed. And now we are starting to see just a little bit of indications here. See what we got showing up. Think I'm getting that. There, yeah, right there. Okay. So that's a little bit more proof in the pudding, telltale evidence of the activities I'm speaking of within my narratives. Now look at this. Just all of a sudden, boom. See that? Just all of a sudden, that second stripe appeared. Quite interesting. And of course, you know, once again, coming over here, we have this nice little line of cloud material. Of which direction this is moving, I'm not sure, but you know, I'm just going to grasp at straws and say northeast. Oh, now look. There we go. Oh yeah, this is going to be a fun-filled recording day, huh? To where, you know, they're going to the extremes to provide that much more evidences to back up what? Oh yeah, my narratives. We gotta watch this. This is. Yeah, okay, I'm panning back all the way. And this is almost directly south. And let's see which way these are moving. Oh, how about that? To the northeast, right? Oh yeah, give me more, give me more. So much for being so-called batshit crazy. So much for being a theorist when I am a observational factualist. Look at this. Oh yeah. Like I said, it just out of nowhere. And of course, this is, you know, adding into the glare factor. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. So well, whether we can get any visuals on the crafts, I'm not too sure, because of course they're kind of clouding up the atmosphere of things. Oh yeah, another one's flying over. We'll get them yet. We always do. So once again, we have what is frequency waves, pusher waves, whatever. Now all we need is the actual streamers. And then possibly with, where are we at? Oh. With forecast models of precipitation. Oh, we might even see a little coloration. Depending on those atmospheric aerosol releases, right? Yeah, it won't be much longer. And the light will be visible from this positioning of the crow's nest. Northeast. All right, we're going to stop it right here for the time being. And I'll wait for more visual evidence to be brought forth, if able to. All depends on what is even further on back here from the southwest. Because once again, evidences are there of all this moving for what? 3 days in a row now? Of all this moving in that northeast direction. Yeah, and now look at this. It's all falling apart. And just kind of mixing in with the glare component. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pause it. I'll do a couple of things, and then we will resume. Yeah, I'll continue on 9:20 a.m. Well, still hearing a lot of audible noise up overhead. But look at how this is all moving in. And of course, once again, moving in that northeasterly direction. Look at this. And then, whap! Nothing but white. Nice little line right here. A frontal line, if you will. Yeah, we're gonna capture one of these goobers yet before I can end this video. I mean, they are flying back and forth, but I just not seeing them. This is crazy. I don't know how well this picking that up. Maybe we can dim it down a little bit. Maybe bring this out just a little bit more. Okay, now we can start seeing this. Well, you can. All I'm getting is a lot of blinding glare. You know, as I stand here waiting, and watching what is occurring back in this direction to the west, what we've seen before all of this, those pushers, if you will, we should also start seeing evidences behind all of this in regards to even more pushers. Maybe the preceding was pullers. Maybe they were pulling. And then eventually we will have the pushers. And where am I focusing on? Right here? Yeah, that's kind of interesting there. Alright, pause again. Okay, another thought. Pertaining to the patterns of things and expectations. So it is possible that we won't be seeing any of these high flyers until we see the small engine prop plane or propeller plane buzzing around. I've forgotten about that little portion of the equation, because usually, as we see in my content, that is one of the preliminary executions, is what, surveillance maybe, to these smaller aircraft, because it seems like once they take flight overhead, then the so-called jet aircrafts start becoming more visible. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that then. Because right now it is a factor of no CMs. And maybe, oh, this has to be pushed forth before any more can be applied. We'll go ahead. We will go ahead and end it here for now. With what sites that we have seen thus far, what evidences I have provided up to this point, and we will continue on once I find it needful and necessary to do so. So on that note, won't you please meet up with me once again back here on this flip side of reality, and we will continue on from that given point in time. Thank you ever so much, and thank you kindly for watching. It is appreciated, especially if you have learned anything new that you might not have known before. We'll be back.